Welcome back. There's growing outrage on social media over a clip that went viral of Limpopo Health MEC Phophi Ramathuba telling schoolgirls to, quote, open your books and close your legs. In fact, she made them chant that line. Ramathuba visited the Gwenane Secondary School yesterday on the first day of the new academic year. The MEC will speak to us shortly, but before we chat to her, let's take a listen to that clip.
To the girl child, open your books and close your legs. Don't open your legs. Open your books, Kirigi. Open your books and close your legs. 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 Thank you very much.
MEC, many would argue that chant you made those girls actually say is degrading and demeaning and takes away the responsibility from boys when it comes to sex. What's your reaction?
I think many who are indicating that or having that belief are failing to appreciate and understand, and probably once they might not have gone through the entire speech or the entire message, because the video is there. And also before that, I went to that school. I was at Khatia Mushati school also, where we spoke to the grade 11 and grade 12. Actually at Khatia Mushati was grade 12 learners. Now, the message was very clear. We are not only focusing on the girl child, but we are also focusing on the boy child. However, we must appreciate that the reality and the material conditions on the ground dictate that you must put much more energy and effort in empowering the girl child. Because if we are to look at the background, pregnancy, teenage pregnancy, as I always indicate, it's not just a societal issue, but it's a class issue which reflects the socio-economic challenges that our people face on the ground. If I reflect you back to even on the Christmas Day, when we had 29 teenage mothers, as a department, we also tried to check with the private hospitals. And when we went there, none of the private hospitals had delivered a teenage pregnant mother. Now, that tells you that something needs to be done amongst those mothers or those children who are coming from working class background. Now, I'm saying this because as a department, we further, after last year, we recorded 19,000 plus teenage mothers who delivered in our facilities. We are not including the 3,000 that have visited our facility for safe termination of pregnancy. We are also not including those countless who are at risk because they went on straight abortion. Yeah. Now, what we did when we find out all these numbers, we profiled some of these teenage mothers and do a survey. And I can tell you, the response were very shocking that we found. But for some of us who stays in a rural province like Limpopo, we knew that these things are contributing. Firstly, you find that most of the teenage mothers will share with you that there is societal pressure. There are cultural beliefs that you need to prove womanhood. You need to prove that you are a woman by giving birth. And you also are found in a situation where you don't have role models. Most of these children out of the 19,000, the common factor amongst them was that not only poverty, but the fact that some of them, they are orphans, some of them. Others, they don't have parental care because their mothers are farm workers, they are migrant laborers who will be at work for 3 to 4 months, but only come home after 4 months.
MEC, I get all of that. But I'm talking about the language you used, in terms of addressing the boys and the girls. You said that you told boys to be responsible when it comes to sex. That sounds like a very much more polished way to speak to men over telling girls to close their legs. And, you know, you take away the responsibility and put the blame and responsibility on girls only, depending on the language you use. And there are many rights groups who say that you're taking us back by telling girls such things, to close their legs, as if they're the ones who are going looking for sex quite actively. So that's what I'm talking about when I mean the language used is key. Regardless of whether or not girls are pregnant, which you point out, teenagers falling pregnant, because men and boys get those teenage girls pregnant, so they have the same responsibility.
You're quite correct that the girls are not impregnating themselves. If you go back to the full video, because those who decided to cut on that clip, for their own narratives, they decided to focus on that. I was very clear there. Where I was, even there's one clip that is circulating, which unfortunately it's not getting the popularity as this, where I'm saying to the boy child, sleep with your books, don't sleep with a girl. And I further on explain the danger of a boy child engaging in sexual activity, and even went on to explain the HIV statistics among some of the boy child who, when we trace back, and this is a fact, we could trace back to the fact that some of them, while engaging in sexual activity with a girl child, the girl child might have been a blesser factor, because you can't trace the infection rate on the boy child, because he would say, I only had one partner. And also on their own, it's not going to be common that they will infect each other, but so there would be blesser involved.
So you don't see any issue. You don't see any issue with the language you use.
I'm saying to you, I'm coming to the language. I'm saying to you, I raised even the issues of the blessers, and I was even harsh even on them, what they're doing. But the fact of the matter, let's look at this here and put yourself in our shoes as the department. On Christmas Day, when we reported the teenage mothers, none of you asked where are the teenage fathers. All of us were saying there's a teenage girl. The reality is that the teenage mother is the one who deals with all these societal issues. In one facility where I visited, when there was a 12-year-old who was carrying a child, and I stopped the procession, request the parents of that girl child. The response when they arrived, fortunately they arrived, and their response was to say, look, MEC, we know our in-law. They have paid the damage, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's accepted within the society that this girl can fall pregnant. The parents are going to receive the damage and the all. So what it means the girl child is on her own. That is why, as a department, coming to this language, as a department, we came up with another campaign of dreams. This dreams campaign talks to that message. It talks about determination. It's focusing on the girl child, not ignoring the boy child, but you've got to empower the girl child. D stands for determination, and R, resilient. By resilient, we're saying teach the girl child to be resilient. And part of resilient is the girl child to say, not in my body. I'm not going to open my legs for you. I need to study my books, because the girl child does not have society.
I've run out of time, but you know, all I'm saying is, given the sensitivity around gender-based violence in this country and how we mold young boys who become men ultimately, what they hear when you say close your legs to girls is something that they could determine and take out of context themselves, because you say you were taken out of context, but you're talking to youngsters here. And that's what I am talking about, and what many rights groups are talking about. It's the language used and the sensitivity around gender-based violence in this country. And what young boys who heard you tell that to youngsters, young girls, actually picked up from what you were saying. And all I'm saying, and many other people are saying, is, yes, you can ask youngsters to be responsible when it comes to sex, but the language is quite key. And I'm hearing from you that you're quite okay with what you're saying, and you need to be quite blatant with your messaging because of the teenage pregnancies you've witnessed in the province. Unfortunately, I have to leave it right there. Thank you so much for your time. Limpopo Health MEC, Phophi Ramathuba.